Hi guys, this is Jen, Freedom 101, a YouTube channel I've created for we the people at large. I wanted to talk to you today about something that's going to be really hard for some people to understand. I've talked to some people out just in my community and online about this, and for some reason people just can't grasp it. I don't know what it is about their belief system or their thought processes, but they just can't understand. And I guess it's because that they've been so thoroughly brainwashed that there's just no other way they can think about a thing except for the way that they've always thought about it. So what I'm going to try to explain to you are the two states. So back when the Constitution had been made and the states were ratifying it, as part of the agreement under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, the states agreed to create another state within it. So the states agreed to give some of its land to the federal government for certain purposes. And those purposes are under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, which in general was for defense purposes. The contract on file from the Republic of Texas that was between the federal government and the Republic of Texas was to allow for these certain areas to be the leased, because Texas never sold any of its land. It's only leased some of its land to the federal government for these certain purposes. The contract on file had called these places State of Texas, so that now we can distinguish between what lands in the Republic of Texas are owned by the people and what lands in the Republic of Texas are owned or leased by the federal government. And those lands are called State of Texas. They're also referred to by the federal government as holdings, enclaves, islands, military reservations, federal lands, federal parks. Okay, now all those areas are under contract from the Republic of Texas to the federal government, called State of Texas. Now, the federal government and the state of Texas had to create a constitution that was in compliance with the contract made with the Republic of Texas. So then you had another constitution called the State of Texas Constitution that was an agreement between the federal lands in the Republic of Texas and the Republic of Texas and the Constitution of the United States for the federal government on how these State of Texas lands would be ran in the Republic of Texas, because the Republic of Texas did not give broad sweeping powers to the federal government to do whatever they wanted on these lands that they were had to be in compliance with when Republic of Texas accepted the federal Constitution, and in that Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, the agreement to create forts, arsenals, and the other things listed in there for defense purposes. There's a lot of information out there to back up this information, including a report from 1957, various congressional records, the contracts between the Republic of Texas and the federal government to create the State of Texas. There were court cases because after some period of time, which was 1845, after that, they were fighting over what lands that included, because the federal government was trying to increase the lands that the state of Texas owned, or actually leased in Texas. And basically because Republic of Texas agreed to use federal courts, the federal government just started doing whatever they wanted and just started saying, well, these lands comply with the contract, these lands comply with the contract, these lands comply with the contract, and just kept increasing and increasing and increasing the lands that the federal government said that it had authority to claim under the agreements. So I want to make sure everyone understands that the Republic of Texas, even though it doesn't currently have a fully running and functioning government, the state of Texas is not the people of the Republic of Texas. It's not their government. It's not the same state. There's two states in this state, in Texas. One is our government, the government of the people, the Republic of Texas, and one is the state of Texas, the federal lands in the Republic of Texas that the Republic of Texas agreed to lease to the federal government for certain purposes, which are listed under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. And when you read the Constitution, and it says that the Constitution applies to, or the United States is 10 miles square, and that area is known as Washington, D.C., or District of Columbia, however they word it, and lands ceded to it by the states. So there has to be a state to cede some lands. The whole state was not seceded. It was some lands in the state to comply with Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. Okay, so I'm going to post a bunch of stuff in the description below so that you can look everything up that I'm telling you and you can see it for yourself. The book is Jurisdiction over Federal Areas Within the States, report of the Interdepartmental Committee for the Study of Jurisdiction over Federal Areas Within the State, Part 1 and 2, a text of the Law of Legislative Jurisdiction. It was printed in 1957. I have Part 2, an original copy with footnotes. Part 1 and 2 can be found online, but they're retyped copies. There should be some in a law library near you. It may be difficult to find, but they are online, so I'll post a link to those, but they're not the original copies. They're somebody else's copy, but I do have the original of the Part 2. If you want an original for your own or original copy, try checking in the library. Have a nice day, guys.